Alrighty. We are live, coming to you direct. I just never feel ready to go live. Sometimes you just got to hit that button. Welcome back to the Sleuth Intuition channel. I'm your host, Patrick Vallejos. We are broadcasting to you live from Phoenix, Arizona. We will be diving into the Nancy Guthrie case. Welcome back. It's good to see everybody. And please help me understand, why would the kidnapper or kidnappers prop the doors, plural, open? Was it to bring something in? A large piece of equipment, perhaps? Did they carry Nancy out, maybe through the sheets or even a bed? Did they replace a bed? Did they stage the crime scene? Right? Let's keep the doors wide open. We'll make it seem as if the kidnappers made a speedy getaway. What's going on, Robin? Maybe Nancy was fighting for her life and had to go out the back door. That's what I was thinking, but they were propped open. So I'm wondering if they tried to carry her out through the back door. And while they were trying to force her into a vehicle, maybe she fought them off a little bit, was able to make it back to her door. Maybe she ripped off the camera, right? She's trying to struggle. She's yelling at the camera, hitting the button, trying to open the door. And during the struggle, she rips off that camera, smacks her mouth on the tile, and then they pick her up, grab her, and take her back out. So maybe they meant to take her out the back way. She got away somehow and was able to walk towards the front door or something like that. You know, just time, we need to start thinking outside of the box. What could have happened? All right, this is what you can expect from today's live stream. We're going to talk about Nancy's neighbor's dog, and that might be one of the main reasons that they're looking into the dates January 11th and February 1st. Could be specifically for a nearby neighbor. We're going to dive down quite a rabbit hole on that one. So entertain me if you will. We're going to revisit the timeline. You know, we know a lot more now, so let's revisit the timeline and combine that with what we know today. And then we'll dive into why prop the doors open. During that portion of the live stream, we're going to play. I collected all of the drone footage that I could from within the first 6 days. Most of it is from the first 6 days, and then I gathered a lot of some of the best photographs that I could find floating around from the first 3 days. So we'll analyze the drone footage. We'll look at some of the early photographs that we're taking of Nancy's home and see if we can piece together. Maybe it has something to do with the neighbor and the neighbor's dog, right? He's behind her. Those double doors point right at her neighbor. So it all seems to tie in a little bit. Make sure you guys are participating in the poll if you can. Question is, why were the back doors propped open? Right now, 31% of you say staging to mislead. And honestly, I think that's probably those of you who think Tommaso had something to do with it. And I mean, that's really is Occam's razor. It's Tommaso. It doesn't mean that there's any evidence, right? That's like saying, oh, well, they're going to look into the family first. Well, yeah, obviously, of course. But I mean, everything does make sense for him to something bad to happen. So maybe Annie Doesn't even know anything, right? He's driving her home. They're having an argument. Maybe finally they're alone to have a discussion. Like, hey, I don't like the way you do this. I don't like the way you do that. Well, stay out of it. It's none of your business, blah, 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 blah. Or maybe something else, something weird. But whatever, there's an interaction between Tommaso and Nancy, and something happens. Maybe there's an altercation, um, something strange that happened between them that may have caused her to pass away. Well, he leaves her there in the home, quickly leaves out of there like nothing happened, goes home, kisses his wife. They go to sleep. He sneaks out in the middle of the night, kind of like what Savannah described in her recent interview, right? They snuck out in the middle of the night and made an escape through the desert. He lives pretty close. He could have easily have snuck through the desert and creeped through the dark back to Nancy's home, whether it was on a bicycle, whether it was on foot. Gained entry to the home, opens the back doors for whatever reason. Maybe he had to bring in some cleaning equipment. Maybe him and a friend carried Nancy out on her mattress and came back and like swapped it all out. I mean, why open those doors? To make it, maybe even just to stage it, right? Here, we'll open it up. Maybe they'll think there was some kind of a ritual going on at the home, right? Some kind of social gathering between misfits. Nancy's home would be a perfect place to have like a gathering or some kind of an event. Here, let's go to the backyard. So I believe the double doors would be right here somewhere. And if they're propped open, they're open to this area that I think has like crisscrossed lights. Hey, Sensei, sponsoring today's live stream. Thank you. Super chat. Would a wheelchair or stretcher get past railing? Well, the image that you guys are referring to is this one here. Can't remember what news outlet took this. Oh, no, this isn't the one. Sorry. Hold on. Here, this one. I mean, it does look like a wheelchair. And I can't tell if it's like going in this direction or. But the only problem is Nancy was taken on technically February 1st. And I think these photographs were taken on the 3rd. Or right after law enforcement left. Remember, they left the scene and then came back. So I think when they first left, so it may have been 2 to 3 days, they were able to take these photos. Somebody went up to the door and got footage of the blood on the doorstep. Yeah, I don't see any footprints. So I think we're going to spend the majority of the live stream looking at photographs like this, looking at drone footage, and then asking the question, why prop those doors open? But first thing we're going to start with is Nancy's neighbor's dog, which actually ties into, today's topic. So this report came out, I think, 3 days ago. A neighbor of Nancy Guthrie says his dogs woke him in the middle of the night on 2 dates, now under scrutiny. Behavior he described as unusual, including the night authorities believe he was abducted, or she was abducted, sorry. Jeff Lamy, who lives a few houses from Guthrie's Catalina Foothills home, told Crime Stories with Nancy Grace that his dogs woke him and wanted to be let outside. on January the 11th, and again in the early morning hours of February 1st. January 11th and February 1st. Those are the dates they were asking about. Excuse me. God, I hate this summer weather. It's so dry. And we have dust. We're having like a windstorm today. Yeesh. Patricia, what's up? Sleuth, a medium, said she got a vision that Nancy was taken to a construction site and someone threw up there. She thinks in was the open dumpster. That was a good interview he had with Nancy Grace. Okay, double doors open back here. Right. Well, what's back here? Well, the neighbor, of course. Right here, I think this is the house. Right here. So that means that the guy was creeping back here. Right? He took this path. So it's safe to say that he probably escaped back that way. So if he's going to bury Nancy or try to hide her body or pick a dump site on foot, if he's wheeling her, right, we can't just say, oh, you can't wheel, you can't do this, you can't do that. You actually have to go out there and physically attempt to do it. If you have a theory, you can't just, in your mind, turn it into some kind of quantum physics in your brain and you're able to see it on a minute scale. It doesn't work that way. Sometimes you just got to get out there and dig your fingers in the dirt. Then you'll say, oh man, it is really easy. Or you might say, nope, yep, hell no. It's impossible. I tried. So, I mean, I really don't know. Double doors are open. You have a gate right here. I didn't see any tracks. And this is why I really wanted to pull up the drone footage, the early footage, because I wanted to see if there were any tracks through the grass. Right? What were they doing? Were they carrying something? Did it take two men to carry Nancy? Did they carry her out on her sheet? Right? Imagine just being asleep. You wake up and two men are carrying you in what almost seems like a giant knapsack. They just picked you up out of bed and are now carrying you out the back. You scramble, right? You see that they're trying to throw you in the trunk. You scramble, run to the front, tear off the camera, cause your wrist to bleed. And then they pick you up and carry you back to the vehicle. But honestly, I didn't really see any tracks or anything like that. But I think together we're going to take a look. But one thing that I want you to notice here is the road that kind of comes through here. Are you able to see that? And then you have this like shack, whatever this is back here. So maybe this guy was hanging out in this shack and just kind of watching Nancy, peeking over the fence. Okay, double doors open. Neighbors' dogs are going crazy. So it's almost as if the kidnapper walked back here along this little pathway. Right, there's a path that comes all the way. Here's the neighbor right here. So his dogs are like, let me out, let me out. Right, good watchdogs. That's what everybody needs. Good watchdogs. Okay, if this guy's creeping through here, that means he probably accessed somewhere through North Mina Vista or kept going. There are trails through here. All right, look right here. Where does this lead? Right. One thing that did pop up, the Jacobson house. Excuse me. It looks like an Airbnb. I think this would support the Mark Orchard theory. Very upscale. It's like $1,000 a night. Right. Shit, I can't afford that. Beautiful architecture. Book your stay. Right. Mark and Ronald Aaron Lopez hanging out together here. Hypothetically, unsubstantiated claims made by Sleuth Intuition, not based in reality. So theoretically, Mark and Aaron rent this Airbnb and use it as their base. Or the kidnapper does. Right. Very private. And they could sneak out in the middle of the night and just creep right through here. All right. Let's creep through here. Boom. Dogs barking right here at this home. Let us out. Let us out. Something's going on back here. Daddy, daddy, let me out. We're going to get him. Damn dogs. He's still creeping through here. Plenty of walkway. Each home has a path, I think, from the workers that they hire. All of these homes are upscale. Most of these people are doctors. This is all the wealthy people in Tucson. Up on the hill, right? They're always up on the hill. Okay. Comes walking through here. What makes him want to pick Nancy's home? Man, I can't get over the shed or the shack. Here, I have an image of it. Does anybody have a good picture of this shack thing? I have like a partial image of it. Oh, here it is. Like, what is that thing? Here, let me hide these comments. Do you guys see it? Bottom left corner. It's like a treehouse or something. I wonder if he thought to himself, wow, like it's nice right here. Right? He's looking in open houses, trying to find homes, vacant homes, just for a nice night, place to stay. Finds a little tree house. Maybe I'll stay here. Watching Nancy over the fence water her plants. And she's over here watering her plants. You can see the hose, right? So he's kind of spying on her. Maybe even eventually making his way into the home. Or if they're looking at both these dates, January 11th and February 1st, maybe he set up a camera back here. Up in one of these trees. He could probably even sneak up onto I don't know what you call this, the pool house. Right? He can climb up here on the side and watch her laying down on top of the roof, watching into these back windows here. Pros would use a drone to spy. I don't know, because Angie, you can track drones. Every time you put a drone up in the air, the FAA has information about it. Yeah, and they are pretty well. Mine doesn't. Mine's not very loud at all. That's the pool house. Trail cams. Yep, trail cams. But if I'm like a homeless person and the way I get by is doing burglaries, like B&Es, this kind of looks like a good place to hold up right here. And you know Nancy's not coming back here. I think she probably comes back here. You can see the hose. Looks like right here. I can't tell. It almost looks like it comes all the way over here. Yeah, somebody's definitely taking care of the property. Who are these people? All right, let's pull this map back up. So Jeff Lamey, shout out to Jeff Lamey for letting us know about what was going on with his dogs. I mean, I definitely think that that's important because we keep asking, why don't they have a photo of the vehicle? Well, it's because the person is creeping through the desert. All right, Sleuth, he's creeping through the desert. Well, how did he carry Nancy out of there? Well, that's the question. And can that explain the double doors? So one of the things that popped out that was over here, kind of going in the direction of the double doors and the neighbor's dogs barking, was an Airbnb, the Jacobson house. It's like $900 a night. So has anybody looked into that? Something interesting that I found out. So the Jacobson house is owned by this person, Demian Klinko. So he probably doesn't take care of it or anything. He's just the one who's cashing the checks. It's a good business. It's a beautiful home. Great architecture. If I had the funds, that's where you want to stay, right there. Did the kidnappers stay here? Another interesting thing that I found out about this gentleman. He also owns a company called. Oop, almost left the stream. That was a close one. All right, here. Catalina In-Home Services. So not only does he own that Airbnb, he also owns this company, Catalina In-Home Services. I'm always trying to figure out what would make somebody confident enough to pull something like this off, right? What would say, yeah, I'm going to go do this. I'm going to kidnap this high profile person and I'm going to get away with it. What would make them that confident? It's got to be something through their lens, right? Through something through their eyes. Whatever world, whatever life, whatever it is, their lifestyle, whatever is going on in their world, those are the things that they used to develop their plan. And all of those individual things that were used to develop this plan to kidnap Nancy, even if it were items chosen to mislead, like, oh, this is what I would pick. So then I'm going to flip it. I'm going to do the opposite of what I would normally do, right? That's kind of what staging is. I wanted to make it look like something other than me. So they're like recipes, ingredients to a recipe, sorry. When did Savannah say evening? I've not heard her say that. Evening, which part? What did I miss? Hey, what's up, Steffa? Good to see you. Jackie, if it were my mom, I would have access to those cameras, have alerts come up on my phone. Would Nancy be checking her cameras herself? It's a good question. I think the same question can be asked about her finances. You know, things like that. Ooga Booga's girl. Ooga Booga. Okay, so I don't know. What do you guys think about that? So we have the double doors kind of pointing out the back as if this individual escaped out that way. Disturbs these dogs. They want to come out back. This pathway right here from the back door to this property kind of leads in the direction and this is not far. Look how close this is. So I would be curious as to see who stayed in here or who could potentially use this as a base, right? Let's launch our plan from here. We'll bring her back here. So either the owners of this facility, hey, we'll use our Airbnb, or somebody saying, hey, we can use this Airbnb right here. We can creep through the desert, right? Nobody's going to see you in the middle of the night, even if you had her like on a stretcher, maybe. Like the something similar to what they'll bring out on like a soccer field. What is that, a gurney? Jay Burns, what up? Good to see you. Angie. Stormy days. Savannah said on Dateline last night that she received the call from Annie around 2 p.m. Is that what she said? 2 p.m.? Well, you have to remember in New York, it would have been 2 p.m., but in Arizona, it would have been like 11. There's a time difference. So that makes sense. Yeah, Arizona's weird when it comes to the time. That's why when anybody asks, like, what time? I always say Arizona time. Arizona time. What's that? Is it mountain time? Kinda. For the most part, yeah. Hey, Red Queen, what's going on? How you doing? Let's see. In February, it was a 2 hour time difference. Yeah, there you go. So that makes sense. Right? 12 o'clock is when pretty much all the commotion with law enforcement happened. So yeah, there you go. 2 hour difference. So that checks out. 12 o'clock here, 2 o'clock there. Is that why the blood drops were in a certain pattern? Yeah, it could be. It fits with this whole staging, right? Because if you, let's say you're a family member or a friend, just subconsciously you're going to shut the doors behind you, right? It just feels unnatural to leave these doors wide open. You've done enough, right? I've caused enough damage. The least I can do is close the doors. And you're just going to do that naturally. But if you're in the mindset of staging a crime scene, you're looking to misdirect law enforcement away from you. So something that you naturally would do would not destroy the home, right? And what if the kidnapper planned? Maybe this is why they thought it was a robbery gone wrong. So they open the double doors, they look around, they don't really see anybody, and they go in there to start taking stuff, right? They cover the camera, they do everything that they need to do, they back in their vehicle, they cover the camera so that they can back in their vehicle. Then they kind of jimmy open the back doors, no alarm. The reason they have it wide open is because they're coming in there to rob the place, right? They start, maybe they're even carrying something out, maybe a big TV from the living room. And here comes Nancy, right? What the fuck are you doing? They're like, oh shit. And then they panic. BJ, what's up? Depends on the time of year. Like I said, Nancy had a caretaker that was living there, and 4 years ago they were fired. Who knows? Nancy hired another one that was living there with her. Yeah, have these people all been checked out? But I do find it interesting that this neighbor dog, their dog is going crazy on January the 11th. Right? Is that the first time this kidnapper selected Nancy's home? He's like, oh, for whatever reason, or was it pre-selected, kind of like the Mark Orchard theory, right? Somebody that's out to destroy Savannah, right? Well, how are we going to do that? Well, we got to get to Nancy. We'll destroy Nancy. It'll devastate her entire family. She'll be all over the news. She'll lose her job. She'll crumble, and she won't be able to take care of her kids, right? This is a ridiculous hypothetical. But the only reason I cling to this theory is because of the Tepe murders. The killer in that case is the most unlikely person. He has no other motive but obsession and pure insanity. He's not out for money. He's not out for sex. He's not out for anything. Nobody would stop him. He was going to kill her and her new husband because he stole his life. The new husband took his life. Those are his kids. So that's why I cling to Mark Orchard. You can blame the Tepe case, right? Especially after Savannah's going all over the news talking about how much of a failure this was and almost like keeping it a secret. We still don't know if there was infidelity, but everybody in Hollywood has been rumoring about it for years. That when he moved to Al Jazeera, was unfaithful. And those are just complete rumors. I have no clue about that. But it's right at that very moment that they got a divorce, right? She's getting up there in age and wants to have children. And now that is all fallen apart. It was a failure. Her dreams of having a beautiful family were destroyed. But she almost was like a martyr with that part, right? Oh, don't worry, Mark. Like, I won't tell him about your infidelity, but I'll just go ahead and make sure that they have the big letters of failure with your photograph right next to it on every major media outlet. That could have pissed him off. That could have put him in a similar state of the Tepe suspect. So what is he going to do? He's going to come up with a plan to get to Nancy. What's the best way to do that without being captured in a vehicle, a car, right? Come stay at this Airbnb. creep through the desert. Because once you get her back to the Airbnb, you're not going to keep her for ransom. If this is the ex-husband theory, you don't want to hold on to Nancy. You have no intentions of holding on to Nancy. I think that there's a chance that you may have even done something really bad. You may have been working alone. You may have had some help. And I hate to say the word dismemberment, but that's what happens. These crooks, when they do these things, they panic, right? I can't carry Nancy. Then they begin doing the horrible things that they do, right? How do I make, and also they're psychopaths. So when they're psychopaths, they're just looking at Nancy as like an object. They're not dismembering a human being or a victim. It's just an object. They're doing something, they're accomplishing a goal, and they need to do these certain things that are appalling to us, but it works for their plan. That's the thing that creeps me out. And I'm no expert, but that's the way I look at psychopathy. It's like murder seems to always be an option. Why? Because they don't look at the world the same. They're always trying to they're like actors, I think, right? Trying to play this role of somebody with empathy and a whole spectrum of emotions when really they're really limited to their emotions. Most of it is superficial, and they're like chameleons. They don't do daylight savings. Yeah, Arizona time. Michelle, Arizona time. Well, what about daylight savings? Don't ask me. Arizona time. That's all I can say. The neighbor with the dog would have a time frame. He did. He said January 11th and February 1st. He may be the source and the root cause of the FBI and the investigative team requesting that information from the public. Right? We believe our guy was creeping through the desert. Which is basically what Tommaso and Annie had Savannah do when they were escaping from the media, right? Didn't they do that very thing? Didn't they hold hands and escape through the desert because the media who were trying to find Nancy were closing in, right? Victims don't feel like they're being closed in on. Nobody's closing in on you. If media is getting close to you, it's creepy YouTubers are not are crossing boundaries, not they're closing in on us, so we have to escape through the desert, holding hands, right? Creating this image. Well, according to this information here, the masked man was apparently doing the same thing, creeping through the desert in the middle of the night, possibly on January 11th and then again on February 1st. So he comes January 11th, sets up, picks Nancy, right? Okay, she's home alone, or he's targeting her. Sets up a camera right here, goes back to his Airbnb. I think it's even possible that he could watch her from here. I wonder if that's possible. Remember they found a transponder or something out there in the desert? I wonder if you could place a couple of those like in between. All right, you place one here, you place another one here, and then maybe another one over here. Maybe some of you guys that are a little bit more techie than me. I wonder if it's possible to set up a camera there or even maybe and just tap into the Wi-Fi. Nature walks. Arizona does not have daylight savings time, I don't think. Yeah, it's weird. Lisa says 3 hour difference. Nefertiti's, what up? Good to see you. Stage kidnapping. I don't think Annie has to be involved. Like, this could be Tommaso. Something goes wrong on the way home. He leaves her there, goes back home. They go to bed. He sneaks out in the middle of the night, comes back, stages the crime scene. Reason the double doors are open because somebody helped him take her out and maybe even bring in some machinery. Maybe something to clean the floors, or I don't know. Yeah, we definitely need to look at the Jacobson house because that's right along the path of what appears to be the masked man's route or route. Could that be why the double doors are open? He's going to take her out that way. Comes this in this direction, wheels her out. There's literally a road right here. Literally. This looks like a gate. Yeah, this is definitely gated. There's a way to kind of get through here. I wonder if there's something like that over here. Some kind of back road. This kind of seems like a weird alleyway, too. Let me get a street view. Oh, yeah, check this out. Middle of the night, come creeping through here. And you would have turned the corner right here. Or maybe you just parked right here. Right? You come creeping in here on an ATV or something, or even just a truck, back it in. A van, SUV, small car. Right here down this little alleyway. Look, the road goes all the way through. It looks like you can even cross right here. I think the question is, could you park like right here without anybody really knowing about it? Yeah, I feel like this is a really good place to park right here. Right? You park your vehicle right here, back it in. Let's see how far this is. Let's see, measure distance. $730. Put her in the back of the vehicle here. The dogs are making all kinds of noise. Then they drive off. I don't know. All right, let's get into why they might prop the door open. Close that down. Close that down. That was Demian Klinko. Hey, Equest Cinco. Thank you so much. Are there any information about cameras at Annie's house? Wondering if there is any information about them leaving their house after dropping Nancy off. I mean, it makes sense why people would suspect Tommaso, right? Because in your mind, you could just play it out. They have an argument for whatever reason. He does something he shouldn't have. Nancy passes away. He returns, stages the crime scene, and disposes of Nancy somewhere else, and then uses the ransom as part of the staging. But just because it's so easy to play out in our mind doesn't mean that that's what happened. Don't let that pull your eyes away from other evidence that could change your mind. Be open to changing your mind about things, and we might actually find the truth. It's a discipline that takes a long time to master, and I'm still working on it. It's okay to have a bias, but you got to recognize it. You have to name it. You have to keep it on a leash. I think they want the door. I think they went in the back, propped door open, and after decided to go out the front door and put her in the car. I think we should go to the drone footage. So I pretty much grabbed as much as I possibly could right before the show. It's not edited, and but it is. I tried to find the earliest footage that we could. All of these are pretty much within the first 6 days, except this one. I don't know when this one. Some of them I couldn't date. But once again, one of the things that stands out to me with this footage is this pathway back here. Now, remember, there's some kind of a tree house or some kind of a shack, some kind of a structure. I can't really make out if it's dilapidated or what. What's up, Don Greenwood? I think he went in the back, propped the doors open, and after decided to go out the front. Could be. And also, they could have taken her out the back and maybe tried to place her into a vehicle, and she fought them off and ran to the front door. Maybe just in desperation. Grits and Grace, what's up? Where is it confirmed she said 2 p.m.? She also did not stay the weekend. Here, let's go into the timeline while we do this. Okay, this drone footage was February 3rd. All right, Saturday, January 31st. Around 5:32 p.m. Nancy took an Uber to her daughter Annie's nearby house for dinner and games and with family, including son-in-law Tommaso Cioni. Around 9:48 p.m., Tommaso drops her off at her home. The garage door opened at 9:48 and closed at 9:50 p.m. That's the last time family saw her. He waited a couple of minutes to make sure that she got inside safely. Blessings. Thank you for the super chat. Look at the blood on the porch. It looks like letter A or R spelled in blood. She Warrior AZ doesn't have daylight savings times. Wish Indiana would go back to not doing it. All right, let me zip down to the very front of the chat. If I missed you, sorry. Just it's a lot of people in here right now. Oop. Okay, we got that super chat. Thank you again. Okay, let's go to Lottie. Good point, unless they self-locked. Yeah, and some doors do. Maybe that's what he was trying to avoid. So that's February 3rd. Is there anything that we can see here? The one thing that I noticed is there is plenty of room for a small, like, all-terrain vehicle to kind of creep back here. This is February 6th, the backyard. No, I'm not really seeing any type of tracks or anything. I mean, the bushes do seem like they're a little bit kind of smashed down right here, but and here they're grabbing another camera off of the pool house. Angie, yeah, I do. We can look at that. Okay, why go out the back here? If you're going out the back, you're not going over the wall. You're most likely going out of the side gate. And there is a nice path going along the side of the house and a pretty decent path going behind the home that you could use, like a dolly. You could use a wheelchair, maybe even a bicycle, prop somebody over the bike, a small ATV. But honestly, something really bad could have happened to Nancy inside this home where she didn't make it out of there that night. And we all know what these people do. They do a lot of horrible things to make it easy for them to transport a dead person. So they could have, after that, could have been bringing in maybe heavy cleaning equipment. Maybe they even swapped out a mattress or something. Who knows? We're busy thinking of them taking something out. Is it possible they brought something back? Does Nancy have like a wheelchair? Does she have an electric scooter? Could they have taken her on the electric scooter to a vehicle nearby, place her in the vehicle, and then roll the electric scooter back up the driveway? Did she have anything like that? Why do you need to open both doors? Why doesn't it fit? Okay, let's take a look at my list here. Reasons, just everyday reasons to basically prop your doors open. Moving large items, furniture boxes. So I have a feeling this is where the whole burglary gone wrong theory came from. Remember early on, somebody claimed that it was Nanos throwing that around, that they were thinking it was a burglary gone wrong, right? You break into a home, you cover the cameras, you prop the doors open, and then you're going to carry all of these large items through this gate over here and into a vehicle. And maybe you even walked around the house, right? You're like, hello, is anybody home? Hello, hello. And Nancy, she's just passed out. She can't hear shit. They're like, all right, we're clear. The coast is clear. But every now and then, maybe Nancy wakes up in the middle of the night around 2:00 and comes walking into her kitchen. And here are these two guys who are preparing to rob her house. Maybe she started to scream. And that causes the dogs to go crazy. Patricia, one of the brothers who said they know where NG is said she looked sedated. You know what's interesting about that? Here, let me pull the map back up. Because those brothers did pop back into my mind. Okay, so let me pull up the coordinates that he left. What was his name? Servando, I think is his name. Yeah, Servando Sanchez Hernandez. So here are the coordinates that he left. What's interesting is that it looks a lot like this area right here. Doesn't it? So here's that Jacobson house. And here's the wash right next to it. Is it possible he looked on a map, clicked on the wrong location? Susan P. contracted out through a business lusting website. Done in Bradstreet Business Directory. Sent you an email. Appreciate that. I'll take a look. They said Nancy was taken from her bed, though. Yeah, what if they literally picked her up, right? She's laying on top of the bed sheet. It's wrapped around the bed. You unwrap it from the bed. You have another person grab the other side, and you both just pick her up. Like a fly trap, like a Venus flytrap. You just wrap her in the sheet and carry her out the double doors. But that wouldn't explain the blood on the front porch. But it could explain why Savannah knows that she was taken from her bed, and most likely in her PJs. Maybe they are missing the sheet or a blanket. All right, so moving large items, ventilation, airflow. Why would you need airflow? If you just cleaned up, maybe you're cleaning the carpet, cleaning the tile, you just mop the floors. Leave the doors open, make sure everything dries. Indoor, outdoor living, barbecues, gatherings. Right? We talked about the fake hoax fetish goth theory. Gatherings. What about a gathering? Look at this. This is perfect for a gathering. She has the lights crisscrossing right here, the beautiful grass. You break in, and wasn't there some kind of a holiday, like a Wiccan holiday or a pagan holiday? Why don't we go down that rabbit hole? So, and the reason I want to go down this rabbit hole, because it has a lot to do with staging and understanding staging, I think, as well. because it doesn't have to be a ritualistic killer, right? This guy doesn't have to be coming in and targeting Nancy because he wants to sacrifice her and celebrate under a full moon or whatever because it's a Wiccan holiday. But it could be somebody who actually killed Nancy and they're staging a crime scene to make it appear as if that's what's happening, right? I'm going to open these back doors. And one thing I've learned about these types of cases is sometimes we miss communication from the perpetrator, right? They might leave a signature or they might stage the crime scene and law enforcement investigators miss it altogether. Right. I think that happened with Bitrolf. He was leaving smiley faces everywhere and nobody was even noticing. And there was even people who falsely confessed to his crimes and were spending time in prison. He's like, what the hell is going on here? And that's why, you guys, it's hard for me to trust law enforcement. Look, they had a serial killer running around, leaving signatures at every murder site, and they weren't figuring it out. Law enforcement, they couldn't connect it. They even arrested the wrong people, and they were on death row. When the real killer was out there, like Rex Heuermann, he was no different, committing all of these murders. And but remember, he got so pissed off about it. He needed the recognition. That's the psychological component. That's the interesting part about all of this. What is causing these people to do these things that we just would never expect in our wildest dreams, right? Your mom is kidnapped in the middle of the night for ransom. Nobody's expecting that. Nobody knows what to do, when something like that happens. But somebody did this. And this person has a psychological profile. Everything about what they did is because of who they are as a person. And we need to try to piece that all together. Well, we don't need to. We probably shouldn't even be meddling. But we're just too curious for our own good, and we're going to do it. I'm sorry to the experts and the professional. But yeah, we're going to do a horrible job at your job. We're sorry. We're just compelled to do it. But yeah, maybe it was ritualistic. I mean, you never know. Here, let's pause this right here so we can get a good look at this backyard. Because we did go through this hoax, ransom, fetish, goth theory. So maybe they wanted Nancy as a sacrifice. They wanted her place to facilitate it. Geez, to facilitate whatever this celebration was. Now we're kind of going off on the deep end here, but I think we should explore everything. So let me take a look at this ritualistic approach here. So February 1st, what is that? Imbolc, an ancient Celtic festival marking the midpoint between winter and spring, traditionally tied to renewal, light, and the goddess Bridget, with common practices like lighting candles, cleansing homes, symbolic rebirth rituals, when modern pagan observances are peaceful and nature focused. So maybe they needed Nancy's home for this, right? They needed privacy. Some fringe or misunderstood interpretations link the date to dark ritual themes, such as fire ceremonies, night observances, right? Almost a full moon, very bright, or symbolic transformation rites. But there's no credible evidence that mainstream pagan traditions involve harmful or criminal activity. Yeah, we're definitely not looking for mainstream, right? We're looking for the outlier. That's who we're looking for, right? It's part of his social life. So he wants Nancy's backyard. Or the actual kidnappers want us to believe the kidnappers wanted the backyard for ritualistic reasons, right? We'll leave the doors open. So they may have been leaving all these I don't know, innuendos or whatever you want to call them. Little breadcrumbs for investigators to try to follow, so that they will be misled. But they just didn't pick up on it. Maybe they had this elaborate plan and in their mind they thought investigators would put it all together. But maybe they didn't. Tucson girl, what's up? A blood sacrifice elsewhere, so they had to take her body to the sacrifice place. What about the Airbnb? Why not in the backyard? Why not in the backyard of Nancy's home? Maybe that's what was causing the dogs to go crazy. But it also made me think of this scene, right?
What were the yards like?
Big backyard.
So he says, what are the yards like? He says, well, big backyards.
Big backyards. Fenced.
Fenced. Her home was fenced.
Some hedges.
Lots of hedges.
Why?
Because if this pilgrim feels a special relationship with the moon, he might like to go outside and look at it.
Right? You might want to go outside and want to look at it. Under what was almost a full moon on a pagan holiday, we need, not only do we need you, Nancy, we need your backyard.
You ever seen blood in the moonlight? Well, it appears quite black. If one were nude, say, it would be better to have outdoor privacy for that sort of thing.
So that's what that all kind of reminded me of. Real McCoy says, justice for Nancy. FBI will find her. Damn Kayaker, welcome in. Says, Annie is proud to be a witch. Boogity boogity. Ooga booga. Savannah quoting Silence of the Lambs, saying her and her siblings. Oh, yeah, I have that too. Let's watch that.
Personal plea.
I'm speaking now to the person who's holding my daughter. Catherine is very gentle and kind. Talk to her and you'll see.
Right, talk to her, like communicating with the kidnapper like a person, you know, personalizing it. See, I look at you as a person. Please do the same thing in return.
You have the power.
Power, that's all they really want, right? Behavior analysis folks at FBI will tell you that. A lot of it is just control and power.
You are in charge. I know you can feel love and compassion.
Very similar to what they, and Savannah told us recently that it was her and her sisters, or her sister and her brother, that came up with this. So yeah, very strange. All right, guys, this will be our 5-minute warning. Let me pull some of this back up. We'll close that, close that, close that. Okay. Letting pets in and out. Well, she didn't have any pets. What if the perpetrator had a pet? Watching kids outside. And remember, these are just typical things that you would do on a daily basis. This is not the kidnapper. Like, why would anybody just prop open, double doors? Frequent trips. Now, this one was very interesting. Frequent trips. Right? You're coming and going. And this is the one that I don't like. Because there is a theory that I try to avoid quite often, which is where Nancy was killed that night and potentially dismembered. So why would you leave the double doors open? Because that's how you're transporting her. You're going to leave the doors open. You have bags in both hands. And you're making multiple trips, frequent trips. right? It's a disgusting thought, but that's what happened to Emily Pike in Arizona. She was dismembered and discarded in the desert in trash bags. So it does happen. It happens all the time. Psychopaths have no issue with dismembering a body, putting it in trash bags, finding a spot on the side of the highway, and just dumping it. This is what they do because they look at people like they're trash. Why aren't they doing that to Nancy? Right? The double doors are so that they can walk out of the home carrying these trash bags. Potentially. Abracadabras, let's go to a super chat. Thank you so much. My theory is this was an essay, and it does happen, right? Everybody is going, oh my God, abracadabras, that's disgusting. Like, no, nobody's gonna do that. We saw the masked man, he's a young man. Why would he do that? Why would these people do half the things that they do? So yes, this does happen. And it doesn't have to be a fetish. It doesn't have to be anything strange. It just has to be an easy victim. An easy target. Starting at her house, but they took her, essayed her, and she passed. Next day, they learned who she was and tried for ransom. I think it's the 3 workers that come in from Mexico weekly. I don't know anything about these workers, but yeah, it definitely could be somebody who was spying on Nancy, said, oh my gosh, a single woman here lives alone. This is an easy target. Maybe even when she leaves, they kind of sneak into the backyard and figure out how to get inside, grab a set of keys, check out the security system. Okay, cleaning, home projects, tools, fumes, right? What about bringing something inside the home, in and out, or maybe something back into the home? And why did they take Nancy's car? Is it possible the masked man took Nancy, put her in the trunk? Well, the thing is the garage door, we don't have it registering open. So yeah, couldn't have gone through the garage. Unless it was manual. Maybe they just lifted it up. Yeah, that was Edward Norton. Aristocrat, what's up? Okay, so cleaning, home projects, tools, fumes, more natural light, right? It's a full moon. Easy guest access, social flow. But to me, this is the one that makes the most sense. Frequent trips, and it scares me the most. Now, anybody bold enough to do like a ransom through Bitcoin, I don't think that they're living any kind of a stable life. So either it's another ploy, a tactic to mislead the investigation, or this person just is like a vagrant. They're homeless. They can get up and go whenever they need to. They're off the grid. Or it's just, it's just used to mislead, part of the staging. And maybe they know it can't be traced, right? It can't be traced unless it's spent. Well, we don't have any intention of ever spending it. You can go ahead and get the money. We doubt you'll pay because we're not going to be able to show you proof of life. So even though we're asking for this ransom, we don't expect it. It's just, we just want you to believe it. We just want you to believe that that's what happened to Nancy. That way you're not looking over here at us. Italian. John Bonet. All right, I think I have a couple more drone videos and then we're going to bounce. Let's see. This one's from February 6th. So February 6th. And I believe the blood goes all the way to about right here. All the way to the railing. Marianne, psychic Mara, and she stated it was 3 Mexicans. And what is this thing right here? Looks like some kind of access to either the sewage or the drainage area. Somebody knew those doors were open. That's a dripping body. Back to who? Blood goes to driveway. I saw videos. Yeah, the only videos I ever saw, it ends right here. I think that's the only video that exists. So I wonder what these guys are talking about. Guys and gals. And her, she looks like she has a bag filled with evidence. It might actually be the camera that they took down in the back, because I think that's the same officer that they handed it to, and she walked inside. She's probably bagged that camera from the pool house. Can't tell how bulky it is. Now, check this out. Let me see when this was from. Okay, this was February 6th. Notice this area right here. Like, what is that? Here, let's pull out the magnifier. I mean, they definitely dragged something out of there. And it looks like it's coming from the gate or something. Hold on. Tools, effects, video effects, geometry, interactive zoom. Boom, there we go. Okay, right here. Can you guys see that? It looks like they dragged something out or backed out. Is this from them backing out the car, or is this the tow truck? See it right here? Hey, Lulu, what's going on? Good to see you. Beat of in life. Comment. Wait. Jari Sleuth respond to all email because no amount of money. Comment being read by Sleuth. What? Looks like drag marks. It looks like drag marks, possibly tire marks, like somebody backed out and kind of hit the brakes too hard. Almost looks like a posi track or something. I don't know. It almost looks like it turns into this little area right here. Rainwater runoff. I mean, it does line up with the tire where Nancy parks. You know, maybe that was her kind of backing out. Or when they took the car. You know, it kind of looks like somebody hit the brake right here. A little screech. Thanks, Jari. Jari's the best. Peace of Jesus. God bless you all. Thank you, peace of Jesus to all. Donna G. Haluzu. Halazu. What about the lounge chair? Was propped against the wall near Angie's bedroom. Could they have used it to lift her? So I read online that she weighs about 150 pounds. I'm not a big guy at all. I weigh about 200 pounds, 5'6", but I could easily carry 150 pounds over my shoulder. For how far, I don't know. Okay, I think I have one more. Okay, this one's very interesting. We're going to finish with this one, guys. So this is a group of investigators over here by Nancy's bedroom, and this guy's kind of peeking up over the fence like he's looking at something, and they're working together to try to figure something out. And this gives me the Gardner theory vibes. Right? This is the Gardner's territory. Or maybe once in a while, Nancy. Does she water her own plants ever? There appears to be a garden on the far east side of her property, right on the property line. But these guys are working through some kind of a scenario that had to do with Nancy's back porch here. See, they're kind of looking at photographs. They're like, okay, all right, let's try to work this out here. So this happened. They came in this direction. You know, they're trying to figure something out that took place back there. See, and then they're going in through the door. It's almost like they're trying to walk through some kind of a theory. Was that a tape measure? What's this right here? Or is that like just like a ladybug decoration or something? There's something right there. Is that a tomato? Yeah, these might be tomato plants right here. That kind of looks like a tomato. That could be wrong. Trash can. Yeah, that's a good way. Trash can, then come back, right? Bring the trash can through the double door. Because that's happened before. That happened in a case. I can't remember the names, but a young student followed his teacher into the bathroom, sexually assaulted her, killed her, and then went out to the hallway, panicked, grabbed a trash can, a trash bin, put her body in it, and walked right past all of the other school employees out the front door, around a corner, and not far into a small wooded area. He dumped her body and covered her with sticks, brought the trash can back, and went about his day like it didn't happen. So yeah, that's a good theory, and would be a good reason to keep those double doors open. And that's why I was trying to look for tracks back there that might point us in the right direction, but I didn't see anything. All right, guys, that's going to do it. I want to thank everybody who joined the live stream and who participated, and those of you who continue to send me emails. Thank you. I do read all of them, but I have to stay on my path. You know what I mean? I have to follow my gut instincts and follow this investigation through. And I need your guys' help to do that. I can't get distracted with something that I'm not feeling it. And unfortunately, that's just how I operate. So if I think it has something of value to what we're working with, and I'm not talking about a place of bias, I'm talking about a place of where the evidence is taking us. We just got to follow it. We got to let it pull us in whatever direction. We can't try to force it into any category. We just got to let it drag us along the way. And hopefully we can pick up any of the clues that are left behind. So if you guys need to reach me, sleuthintuition.com, hit the contact tab. You can also grab some merchandise there if you want to support the Sleuth crew. Go get yourself a t-shirt. Everything that we make on this channel goes back into the channel. We're trying to grow these things so that we have more ability to be more helpful, right? Drone operators. Maybe one day we can get an ATV and actually get out there, boots on the ground. We just upgraded to Starlink, right? None of this is cheap. All of this costs money. So we're spending more than we're making. So we need to reverse that. And we know if you guys stick with us and we turn this into something big, we can all hopefully do something great, cover more cases, and somehow help Nancy in some way by collecting all of these minds in one place. Can we come up with an idea? Can we come up with something that can be helpful? Can we generate a tip that the FBI will actually listen to? Can we grab their attention? We don't know. We don't want to throw crap at them. Let's build up something strong. And if it's valuable, maybe we can celebrate possibly helping in some way or another. And at the very least, we're bringing attention to Nancy's case, right? And we're also having an outlet. We're having an adult conversation, respectful. And I appreciate that from you guys. So if you need me, sleuthintuition.com, hit the contact page. If you want to support my channel, there's other ways to do that in the link. I appreciate all the tips and all the coffee money. I thank you so much. Super chats, all you guys, you rock. Thank you for supporting my channel. And I love you guys. Take care. Peace.